Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Luminata. Happy almost equinox, autumn equinox. The fall equinox is a time when the cosmic scales of light and darkness balance for a moment, and then the scales tip toward the darkness as the sun travels on its journey through the ecliptic, and it's a time of growing outer darkness. So because of that, all the spiritual traditions of the world since ancient times have always encouraged us to develop our inner light and to stimulate the growth of the light and love in our souls to compensate for the growing outer darkness. So this is the cosmic ritual and dance that happens every year. So we're very happy tonight to have with us Jon Rasmussen, who's going to talk on the subject of connecting with spirit. And Jon is a trained shaman, and shamans are individuals who are intermediaries between the worlds of matter and spirit. And they learn how to connect with the spirit through their minds and their hearts, and by doing so are able to transform their outer worlds and dream their world into being. So all of us, in our own way, learn to connect with spirit through mind and heart, and we do the same thing. And a shaman is a kind of living bridge between the world of matter and the divine worlds. So Jon is going to talk to us tonight about how we can become these living bridges in our souls by developing the light and love within us. He's going to lead us in a shamanic ritual and a journey. And so it's a great honor and privilege always to have Jon with us. And please join me in giving him a very warm welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Good to see you all once again. And so my beautiful Caro teachers from Peru, this tribe that lives in Peru, I've got my mesa. In their tradition, we work with a mesa, a bundle of stones that represent our journey. And in shamanism, and this is really universal across many cultures, but our journey, our life is depicted as journey. And we use this concept of a wheel. And it's really kind of a spiral, because you can dance around this wheel, but you sort of, it's different each time, and it changes each time, and you become a little bit more masterful, perhaps, at life in general here in the theater. And so we're going to use this today for our journey, and I'll talk a little bit about each step along this wheel and how it leads us essentially to the hub of the wheel, which is where that direct connection to spirit is always there, and our direct connection to earth, to matter, to mater is there, and there's no separation of the two, and we are all essentially bridging those two. We're consciousness playing around here on the earth, embodied as these different, apparently different looking individuals, and with all of our wonderfully different stories. And so it's quite appropriate to dance around the wheel. This isn't about staying in the middle and just being spirit. It really is about enjoying and engaging in the theater completely. So people think, well, when we do this medicine wheel healing journey, when you get done, you're done, right? Like, you're good. And it's like, no, you keep going around. But each time it just gets more fun, perhaps, more interesting, more free and empowered. So, you know, I think, as you may know, whenever we do any of this work, this play together, we open sacred space. So we'll do that to start. And even in the opening of the sacred space, it's also relative to the wheel. So you'll hear me speak in terms of what each of the directions means and the power animals associated with it. And as we call on them, as we call on all the forces of nature and the earth and the heavens to hold us tonight and always. So we'll stand up together, we'll face the south to start. And to the winds of the south, Sachamama, Hatunamaru, Great Serpent, Mother of the waters, the rivers, the galaxies, the roads that bring us together. Come hold us in this healing space, wrap your coils of light around us, help us to shed the old wounds, heavy energies, the way you shed your skin, which is all at once, right here, right now, so that we can walk in beauty and wholeness, gently on ourselves and our bodies, gently on the earth. Be with us. West. To the winds of the west, Otorongo, great jaguar, puma. Come and protect this medicine space for us, devour those energies that do not belong, and teach us your ways, how to leap beyond the need for guilt, shame, violence, limiting myths and beliefs, and instead to be warriors, but warriors who have no need to engage in battle, internally or externally. No need for enemies in this world or the next. Instead, peaceful, powerful, luminous warriors that know how to ask and receive those core experiences of life that we most desire. Be with us. Ho. To the north. To the winds of the north, great healers, wisdom keepers, lineages of all, ancestors and guardians of this land, come hold us in the ancient wisdom and the wisdom to come. We honor you who come before us, and you who will come after us, our children's children. Help us take our seats with you we've never left as powerful, joyful co-creators. And hummingbird Siwarkenti, come help us to drink of the nectar of life, to receive unconditionally all that we need for our epic journey, even when the journey seems difficult or the contrast seems great. Help us to do that which seems impossible, as you do. Be with us. Ho. Ho. To the winds of the east, Hatun Kuntur, great condor, Apuchin, Anka, eagle, owl, raven, macaw. Help us to soar high. Help us to have the broadest perspective, the clearest vision of our ideal destiny, and bring it to earth, grow corn with it, embody it. Help us to listen to our bodies, to use our feelings as guidance and discernment and as a way of asking, sending out our prayers. Honoring the feminine once again in this way fully, putting the heart above the head and flying wing to wing with great spirit, with self-effort and grace. Be with us. Oh. And to the earth. Pachamama, great mother, thank you for holding us, for being in our bodies, the air, the water, the floor here, the walls, ceiling, all forms. The stone people, the plant people, the two-legged, the four-legged, the creepy crawlers, the fin, the fur, and the winged ones, all our relations that not only feed us, bring us beauty and joy, shelter us and clothe us, but also help us embody their medicine, their characteristics and instincts when we need them. And thank you, Mother, for taking the heavy energies from us as you do our waste and mulching it so we don't have to carry it around. We can take life beyond where it's been before, here on your belly as your children. Thank you, Mother. Ho. Inti Taita, Father, Son, Mama Kia, Grandmother Moon, Atun Chaska, star brothers and sisters, thank you for showering us with your energy, your cycles that make life possible for us, and doing this unconditionally without judgment. Teaching us to treat ourselves and each other this way. In Great Spirit, Ilaticho, Wirakocho, Wakantanka, God, creator of all that is, you are known by 1,000 names, yet the innameable one that dwells within us and all around us in all forms. Thank you for bringing us together to sing this song of life one more day, to dance this dance of co-creation together, to take it beyond where it's been before, new possibilities. And thank you for all those you brought to us to help us and show us our potential. Oh, thank you. Feels nice just to do that, doesn't it? You just sit with that. There's another chair. So the medicine wheel as life's journey for this particular tradition of the Americas, the Southern Hemisphere, South America, starts in the South. Some of them start in the East. That's fine as well. But the South is where we experience life at the level of the serpent, the sort of very literal, the theater in all of its pleasure and pain, right? And that's good. That's what we're here for. Ideally, much more pleasure than pain would be nice, but you got to have some contrast. So when the painful experiences happen to us in life, we're normally built to just process them in the moment. We cry, we scream, we yell, like children, you know, like we all are, ideally. And then the heavy energy that is left over from that, the sort of like our food waste after we've digested our food in our tummies, and our waste goes out into the earth. That goes into the earth where it can get mulched for us and taken care of and turned into new life. And we just keep playing here. And so when we visit the South, ideally, when we're doing the healing journey of the shamanic practices, if there's anything that didn't get released, this is where we release it. Pretty straightforward, like the serpent sheds its skin all at once, not one little piece at a time if we can help it. So then in the West, we have the opportunity. The West has everything to do with how we sort of identify with our ancestors, those who came before us, you know, our mother and father, our upbringing, our myths and worldviews of our tribe, of, you know, our people, of any sort of tradition. And the way in which that can affect us is that we, like you've heard of epigenetics, right? We can be living very much our ancestors' story and sort of perpetuating it. And so we have an opportunity when we visit the West to leap beyond that with the help of the jaguar. We can die and be reborn as sort of free agents, having taken the gifts of our ancestors and been raised by them and appreciate them and love them. We could do a little better, perhaps. The children leapfrog their parents, the student leapfrogs the teacher. So it's a nice piece of work to thank and honor our ancestors and then move on. And then we go to the North. And by the way, in the West, we also let go of attachments that we might have to other beings, other either authority that we're trying to follow their lead, or to those who are holding on to us. These are like entity attachments and things and cords, and so we cut all that free too. So you're a free agent from everything. Then in the North, of the medicine wheel, this is where the sort of spiritual life mastery part begins. because the work of the north of shamanism is many of the spiritual traditions we're familiar with, like the Buddhism and Zen and non-attachment and being unoffended and non-judging. So there's opportunities in the north, because every time we feel as though we have been traumatized, or we're the victim, the perpetrator, or the rescuer of any given situation, painful situation, for example, because we expected something and didn't get it, right? We were attached, or because we're being projected on, that we're this way and that way. It's all the normal human stuff, right? In the north, we have an opportunity to reclaim our soul. This is the soul retrieval work. This is where we go back, and every time we were traumatized and a part of our energy stayed in that moment and hid, and we lived, we may be missing some of the passion and the gifts that part held, and sometimes we get diagnosed with PTSD or dissociation or something. We're not the same person we were before that event. But it's never too late to go back in time and change your perception of the event from victim to not. Yes, that hurt, it was horrible, but I'm over it, and I'm still the master of my life. I'm still the one who can dream my world into being. I'm still connected to spirit and to earth, and I'm in balance. You didn't throw me off. So we get ourselves back together in the north. And then the east is very interesting. The east is where we start to spiral back into the hub of the wheel. The east is that core birthright of ours to be co-creators, to be the ones who can dream our world into being, can have a sort of fantasy or a thought or a goal, a feeling around what we would like next for our own lives, for our village, for the world at large. And then because we're connected in the hub of the wheel to source and to the earth, it automatically begins to manifest. And again, the more you're not stuck in one of the other parts of the wheel, the sort of easier that is. So when we talk about reconnecting to spirit, when it comes to this particular kind of work, it really is about finding your way back, around the wheel and into the center, and being this co-creator with Source. Does that make sense a little bit so far? So then, of course, it's fully appropriate, and you're welcome to get wounded again in the South. Get hurt, cry, scream, and yell for a little bit, ideally. Next time, again, you get a little better at it each time. You don't hold on to stuff. You don't really worry what other people are going to think if you're crying out loud in the middle of the grocery aisle or something like that. And so you move more quickly back around. You move quickly back to the east, to the center of the hub, to your default connection with spirit, who you really are. And then the magic begins, the ability to sort of have synchronicities, to have time work for you, to be unmoved by other people's projections, to not care, to see everything that way, actually, to recognize nothing is personal. Somebody does something that hurts you, it wasn't personal. So that keeps you in that center, in that spirit place. And it's, our luminous bodies are like toroids. They're a big wheel going all the way around us, and the center is where the energy of Source comes through us, and the base that goes out into the earth. So we're a spinning top to begin with, right? It's our nature. It's who we actually are. And to be balanced, how do you balance a wheel or a top? You hold it right at the center. If you hold it on the edge, it might not be so balanced. So if you're stuck in any one of those places, it'll keep throwing you around the wheel. If you're in the quote-unquote north, so if you allow yourself to continue to hold on to a story that person hurt me and they must pay a price and I will never forget it, and I will never be the same, they've ruined my life, then you're immediately shot back across the wheel to the south, where you're experiencing over and over the loss, abuse, betrayal, abandonment, neglect, or engulfment, the six painful human experience, one of the or more of the six painful human experiences. So you'll get thrown, if you're stuck in the West and you continue to insist that the way your ancestors did it is the way it should be done, and you know, those worldviews are important to hang on to, and this is just what happens to us, this is who we are as a family, you know, then you're stuck. And then, you know, if you get to the East and you begin to have the opportunity to say, but what would you prefer? How would you like, if you could design it any way, if you weren't limited to your DNA and your story and your past, and you somehow could magically write a book and dream the world into being for an ideal future, right? If you exercise that, that's great. If you don't, if you just go, well, I'll just sit here, wait, see what happens, you know, I don't really care, you know, I can, as long as I'm a little bit warm, not freezing, you know, some of the basic stuff, you might get thrown right back to the West, where your only sort of way of being is the way you were taught by your parents, your ancestors, and there you are again. So you can see how you can keep moving around that wheel out of balance in some respect. But we can also go right to the center. And then from a place of freedom and power, never having to experience anything, we can experience as much of it as we want. Again, all the pain, all the drama, all the ancestral stuff with our families, we can dive right in at Christmas and Thanksgiving or whatever, and get in arguments about politics and this and that, you know, and just but you do it from this place of, it's just fun. Like I'll walk out of, you know, I'll go home that night and feel amazing because I'm over it already, you know. I'm back to the center of the wheel. So it's good, it's okay to be in it, right? But it's just, you don't need to be stuck in any particular situation for longer than you choose, ideally. So we're going to do a little journey, and in the journey I'm going to take you through each of those steps, and you know, we'll keep it simple, but it'll be an opportunity for you to do the work of the medicine. Like when I do sessions with people, this is what I'm doing, you know, as a mediator, as a sort of empty bone, right? As they say, as a mediator between the worlds, the team that works with you and your own self. You know, this is what I'm doing. We're clearing we're just doing each of these steps. But we're going to do a journey that takes you through these steps right here, right now. So you can taste the center of the wheel by the time we're done and sit in it for a while. Yeah, sound good? Okay. So just relax, you look comfortable, you look like you're fine. And you know, with any of these journeys, we automatically, because of the intention and the team that we work with and call on, we automatically go to this part of ourselves where all of these things source, which is the soul. That part of you that energetically can hold on to these things. And then there's the subconscious part of your being, which we call the mythic. And then there's the mind, and then there's your physical experiential world, right? So to do this work, we want to go like right to the energetic piece and do this wheel there, and then you can do some ritual and ceremony, a little bit more homework, if you will, to address the more mythic layer. And then of course your psycho-spiritual practices is, you know, just read the books here and, you know, do your work, right? Keep your mind in the game, so to speak. But and you know, and I thought it came to me tonight that one of the most powerful things that is in every tradition that is related to the mythic, the ritual, the ceremony, the images, the symbols, the art, music, poetry, is an altar. I call it the destiny altar, but it's where you have, your classic altar images, like all of these great help, all of the team that comes and you can call on from all the worlds that we called on in the directions. And but you're there, something that represents you should be the sort of center essentially of your altar, because it's your life as co-creator, and that will help anchor that. So that's that center of the wheel, right? It's reminding you, it's anchoring you in that place in a very powerful way than just in using your mind to remember it. So I encourage everybody to create an altar like this, but remember, if you already have one, remember to put you in it, right? You're not separate from your own destiny, right? So we're going to go through this process, and you'll be able to take pieces of this and bring it to that mythic as well. So we'll be in an altered state a little bit. Your mind doesn't necessarily have to be able to keep up with everything we're doing. This deeper part of your being will. You know what I mean? So if you start to get distracted, or you go blank, or you're not sure you're really doing it, and you're frustrated or anything, that's okay. That's not uncommon. When I ask you to sort of like picture things, it's not waiting for it to show up in your imagination. It's being more active. And if I say think of an animal, you'll picture anyone that you want, right? And that would be your power animal. It has to come in some sort of where you blank your mind and then it shows up. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Your imagination is also a useful tool. So we'll do that. All right, a few deep breaths. I'd like you to imagine that you're moving from behind your eyes and moving down your body, inside your body, down into your torso, and stopping behind your heart and seeing your heart beat in front of you. Imagine that. And then I'd like you to imagine entering your heart and seeing the blood rushing by and the valves working and this magnificent 4-chambered pump. This beautiful body. And I'd like you to notice that there is a light in the center of your heart. And that's the center of your toroidal soul. It's infinitesimal, infinitely large and infinitely small, completely outside of time and space, being fed by the source of spirit from above and connecting to the earth below with pure energy. Everything is energy, and this is pure spirit, pure energy. And as you step into that light, you see a field, a beautiful field of grass and flowers. And there's a big, beautiful medicine wheel with stone monoliths, kind of like a Stonehenge. And I want you to walk over to what is the south stone and just lean up against it with your back. And when you do that, you get a quick glimpse without having to feel the painful experiences. It's kind of like a recapitulation of a few of the big wounds, the painful things in this life that might have happened to you, but you're just observing, really. And if they happen to still have a hook on your luminous body, your soul, or they happen to be an imprint there, that stone you're leaning up against just takes it out of you and directly into the earth where it can be mulched. So any and all of those wounds that you can think of, those painful experiences, they're gracefully taken from you, brought into the earth, just like that. Even the ones you're not aware of, even the ones you can't remember, being completely cleansed. And it doesn't matter if it was things that were done to you, things you did to others, or you did to yourself. None of that matters. It's clear. And now I'd like you to move from that stone to the west direction and lean up against that stone. And immediately you see the history of your ancestors. Whether you knew them or not, you can see the many, many souls that came before you in this body, this DNA. And you could see the things they went through. And I want you to imagine that you can let them know that you love and appreciate them and honor what they went through. And you forgive them for any way they fell short with you. But you're going to follow your own footsteps now, without having to die and go into another body, literally. You're doing it this way. And it serves them, it helps them heal, it shows them and your children and your children's children also another way of being. Any other cords and attachments can no longer find you because you have died and have been reborn. So everything falls away. And you are pure once again. Your pure soul. And then make your way to the stone in that big medicine wheel, the monolith in the north. And as you lean back against that stone, all the spiritual tradition and wisdom teachings move through you. And you instantly become free. Free from any limitations, free from any attachments, free from any old stories and perceptions that no longer serve. And because of that, you very quickly move back in time to all the times you were traumatized and you felt that you were the victim, the perpetrator, or the need to be the rescuer, instead of everyone being the co-creator of their experience. And with the help of all the great angels and spirit guides, we visit each of those times and let them know that all is well, that you no longer get stuck in that disempowerment triangle, that you know, no matter what happens, how to choose the story and the perception that keeps you in your power. And you know that all of nature conspires to help you in that way. All that you need, the power animals, the gifts, come to you. Even time works for you. Synchronicities. Wisdom comes to you freely when you need it or you want to share it. So once again, you're the master. Right now, right here. Completely whole with your original self and your original connection to spirit and to the earth, the true mother and the true father. And now with all this freedom and power, you move to the east and stand against that stone. And as you stand there, it moves you into the hub of the wheel and you watch it spinning around and spiraling upward. And you know that any of your experiences going forward are from a place of that power and freedom and that mastery. That you can choose how long you stay in a story, in a drama, and that you can change the dream. You can imagine a new ending to any story. And you can set into motion any new story, new destiny for you and for the world, from that place of freedom and non-attachment, from that playful center of the wheel. Firmly grounded to the earth, always connected to source, in perfect balance. Anytime you go to some part of the wheel of life, you can always come back to the center, effortlessly. You don't have to get shot across the wheel. You come back to that center as witness, as creator. And you get really good at it. Every day you get better at that. Coming back to the center. And you have a lot of help from your spirit guides and anyone you want. A lot of help from all of the children of the earth, the stone people, the plant people, the animals. And you can never lose that. They're always there for you. And now from that center of the wheel and of your life and of your heart and your luminous body, make your way back into your heart. See the blood rushing by. In this time and space, and back out into your torso, seeing your heart beating in front of you, and back up. Up behind your eyes. Just for a minute before we come fully back, just take a moment to feel that destiny that you would imagine, that ideal, your ideal health experiences, energy in your body, comfort in your body, strength, functionality. Just imagine for a moment. Your ideal relationships, love and laughter, support, discernment, freedom, ease. Imagine that for a moment, all your relationships. And the ones that aren't that, just amusement. Like a movie. Appreciation for how well everybody plays their role, even the villain. So you don't get stuck. Imagine giving your gifts to the world with whatever you do well. Your ideal work, just for a moment. What would that feel like? You don't have to know what it is, just imagine what it would feel like. Just have everyone appreciating what you do, what you're good at. And imagine the confidence and the support and the security of having all the resources you want. Never mind what is now, just imagine what that ideal would feel like, just for a moment. And be grateful for what brought you to this moment, everything that happened in your life and past lives. Just for a moment, be grateful that it's brought you right here, right now. So it's all good. And be grateful for this creation and the source of spirit that animates it, and the earth that supports our experiences of it. Such an amazing thing for free, just because. So fun to play here like children in this magnificent theater, just for a moment. Imagine we're all right back in the first day of preschool or kindergarten sitting here. Brand new again. Ready to play for many years to come. This place of power and freedom and connection to spirit. Okay, now you can open your eyes. It's kind of fun for me for a moment there to imagine you all as kindergartners. It looked really cool. Anyway, yeah. So, I think, anything that you experienced during this, and, don't rely entirely on your mind to sort of hold it all. Like I said, when you get home, if you go to my website, shamanjon.com, there's a homework section with a few, like I said, the altar is described there, other methods for sort of taking anything that came up during this, like the old wound stuff, and blowing it into a stick and burning it, or doing a little mandala of it. An ancestor altar, if that was a big one for you, where you have a couple of pictures of them, you put them on the altar, and you bring food and drink and sweets and stuff to them as a way of saying thank you, love you, it's been great, but stay on the altar, don't follow me around. Except with the good stuff. You can keep giving me the good stuff, but I'll leave that old stuff behind. So these are the things, right, that you can do. So we've done the journey energetically. Your mind was, perhaps there most of the time. And then the mythic is, it gets all of it done, and so the literal world begins to reflect this new mastery and freedom and power of yours, and playfulness, and like that final part of the journey that we did, and the destiny altar that could depict whatever that is for you. So thank you so much for this opportunity to come and play with you, and Emery and Maya as well. Thank you both for all of this.
And I'd like to offer a leaf to anybody who would like one to take with you on your journey as a reminder of the new season and the new you.
Good, thank you. All these leaves here. Grab one on the way. Thank you.
Thank you.
What else?
I want to remind everyone too that Jon has a great book, some CDs. Dreaming Your World into Being is his book. And there's no charge for the event, as you know, but we do put out some love offering baskets, so if you care to contribute, that's always a wonderful thing too. So thank you so much for coming, and happy autumn equinox. So there's a basket.